Okay, here's our second video from section 11.1, where we've been talking about the fundamental counting principle, where we can figure out how many total ways we can pick one item from each category. In example number 4, it says that we have a car manufacturer is now experimenting with lightweight three-wheeled cars designed for one person and considered ideal for city driving. Suppose you can order such a car with 9 possible colors, with or without air conditioning, electric or gas powered, and with or without an onboard computer. How many ways could you possibly order one of these new vehicles? Well, we want to pick one color out of the 9 options, one option of with or without air conditioning, one either electric or gas powered, and one with or without an onboard computer, to figure out a total number of ways in order to order one of these vehicles. So we can use our fundamental counting principle. How many different colors again? 9. With or without air conditioning, that's 2 different options. Electric or gas powered, that's also 2 different options. And with or without onboard computer, 2 different options. We want to pick one out of each of these categories. Multiplying them all together, we end up getting 72 ways we could possibly make or order one of these new vehicles using our fundamental counting principle. Let's look at another one, example number 5. It's a little bit tricky, so you've got to be careful on this one. It says here you're taking a multiple choice test that has 6 questions. Each of the questions has 3 answer choices with 1 correct answer per question. Okay, now think about that. We're going to take a test. We have 6 questions. It's multiple choice, so each question has an A, B, or a C, and one of them is the correct answer. Okay. If you select one of these 3 choices for each question and leave nothing blank, how many ways could you answer all of the questions? Now you've got to be careful. Most students think that we have 6 questions, we have 3 options, and they try to do the counting principle and multiply the 6 times the 3 and say 18. But what that's really saying is that really you're answering 1 out of this 6 questions, and from the 3 options you're only going to answer 1 of those options. So again, it's saying if you do the 6 times 3 that you have 6 questions and you're only going to answer 1 of them. But that's not the case here. Don't we want to answer all 6 of the questions? So be careful not to just look at those numbers and quickly multiply just the 6 times the 3. We have to make sure that we answer every single one of these questions, all 6 of them. So I don't know about you, but it kind of helps me visualize what's going on by kind of drawing a little kind of diagram here. So I know that I want to answer every single one of these questions. Question number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And as I go to answer each of these questions, don't I have 3 different choices per question? I have 3 different choices of different answers for question number 1. I'm going to answer one of those choices. And I'm also going to answer question number 2. And when I go to answer question number 2, how many different choices do I have when answering question number 2? Don't I also have 3 choices? And I have 3 choices for question 3 and 3 choices for question 4 and 5 and 6 because I want to make sure I answer all 6 questions, and I have 3 options each time I do that. Now I want to multiply 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is a little bit different than 6 times 3. It's actually 3 to the 6th power. You end up actually getting a total of 729 ways you can answer this 6-question test. A lot different than just 18 ways, right? So that one's kind of tricky. You have to be really careful on that one and really think about what's happening. Let's do one last one in this section. It says here telephone numbers in the United States begin with a 3-digit area code followed by a 7-digit local telephone number. Area codes and telephone numbers cannot begin with the number 0 or 1. How many different telephone numbers then are possible? Again, it kind of helps me visualize by putting my 3-digit area code and then my 7-digit phone number and putting the spots for all of those. Because I don't want to just pick one number, I need all of these numbers. And I need to figure out when I go to select the first number, how many different options do I have? Well, think about your area code here. And when we go to pick this first number, how many different single-digit numbers could we possibly put in that spot? Now be careful. Doesn't it say in the question that area codes and telephone numbers cannot begin with the number 0 or 1? So we've got to take out those options. So we can't have 0. We can't have 1. Can we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? How many options is that? Yeah, isn't that 8 options? Now when I go to pick the next number in my area code, how many different single-digit numbers can I pick for that spot? Well, it doesn't give me any restrictions and say I can't use 0 or 1. So I can really use any single-digit number. And it also doesn't say I can't repeat, so I can go for all of them. That's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10 options of different numbers I can put for that spot. How many options do I have for the third spot? Again, it doesn't give me any restrictions on not using 0 or 1. It doesn't say anything about repeating, so don't I have another 10 options? So far I have 8 options for the first spot, 10 options for the second spot, and 10 options for the third spot. And that was just my area code. Let's do the same thing for the telephone number. Maybe pause the video and see if you can figure out how many different options I have for each number in a telephone number. All right, for this first spot in my telephone number, it says in my problem, remember, that the telephone numbers and the area codes can't start with a 0 or a 1. So that eliminates 2 numbers there. But I still have 8 other numbers, don't I, that I can choose to put in that spot. Okay, how many numbers can I put in my second digit of my telephone number? Well, it doesn't give me any restrictions on 0 or 1. It doesn't say anything about repeating, so I can choose any single digit number to put in that spot. That's 10 options. And another 10 options for the next spot, and 10 more, and 10 more, and 10 more, and 10 more for each of these spots. And because I want to pick one number to go in each spot, and these are all my different options, I'm going to use the fundamental counting principle and multiply all these numbers together. So hopefully you have a calculator with you so we can multiply all those big numbers. I ended up getting 6 billion different telephone numbers you could possibly make, making sure that the area code and the telephone number don't start with a 0 or 1. That's a lot of different phone numbers. That's why nobody has the same number as you. But I don't know about you. Didn't it kind of help make a little diagram with all of these different spots, and then we filled in how many options we have for each spot? That might be a strategy you use while you're doing your homework. Try it and see how it works. All right, make sure you know how to use the fundamental counting principle all different ways with just a couple of different options, with lots of different options, being careful not to get confused, kind of like on example number 5 with the multiple choice question 1. All right, keep working hard. Make sure you do your homework for 11.1 before it gets a little bit more challenging, okay?